Welcome back to my kitchen garden. It's a space I've grown to love more and more. One reason is because with strategic planting, I can harvest food from it throughout the year, usually 10 or 11 months in my Arkansas garden. Today, I'm going to share with you my planting plan for the entire calendar year. If you're in a similar climate to mine, where our last frost date is usually early April and our first is in early November, and we also have a hot period of over 85 average from June through August, feel free to borrow my plan. But even if your climate is different, I hope you'll see the big picture cadence and the main point: to keep planting. With that in mind, let's jump into January. So yeah, it's actually February, so this is more of what I planted in January. And here's the list. In January, I indoor sowed lettuce, broccoli, cabbage, celery, and I was gonna do onions, but I didn't make it in time, but I would have sown them in January. This I did indoors with the purpose of transplanting out depending on the crop. And I'll get to when I plan on transplanting those out in just a minute. Also in January, I direct sow greens, arugula, and spinach. So usually this is either gonna be in my greenhouse behind me, or with arugula and spinach, often I'll do that directly in the garden outside. This obviously depends on how the weather's going, but for the most part, this typically tends to be a good time to be able to start sowing those cold hardy greens. For herbs, I started parsley and marjoram indoors because they take a little bit longer to grow inside before they're ready to transplant out compared to some of the other vegetables that we plant in our gardens. February is the time that I start indoor seed starting beets if I plan on indoor seed starting them. Sometimes I do plant them directly out in the garden, but last year I had a really good experience with starting them indoors and then transplanting them out. February is also the time when I indoor sow peppers, eggplant if I'm growing it, and tomatoes. But usually the peppers and eggplant and tomatoes very end of February, just because I've made the mistake in the past of planting too early and then they get really big before I can get them out in the garden. So end of February is usually ideal for me for those plants. And then I'm also continuing to direct sow greens and arugula out in the garden, in the greenhouse, wherever I can, about every other week. My goal with this is to continually plant so that I can continually harvest. It has been over a year since I've had to buy any kind of salad greens from the grocery store. And the reason that that's the case is because I continue to sow so I can always have a harvest every single day. And my stomach is growling. I'm ready for lunch. I definitely want to go get my salad for the day. So the very first indoor seeds that I sowed of lettuce back in January, they're going to be ready to transplant sometime in February. In our climate, February can feel downright like spring, or it could be winter, so it just kind of depends on how the weather's going. But often I'll transplant them and then have them in the greenhouse just in case it gets really cold, but at least I'll be able to have them available to start eating soon. And then I will start transplanting onions. Since I didn't get those started indoors, I'll probably buy those from my local garden center as transplants. And I'll also potentially transplant broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower. Now, if I do those three in February, it's typically at the end of February, only if we get a period of mild weather. If winter wants to hang on a little bit longer, I'll wait until the beginning of March to plant those. The last couple of years, I've been able to get them out in late February, and when I can do that, ideally, I get an earlier harvest before they start to bolt, and it starts working out really well. Well, cauliflower I've actually never done in the spring. I did those in the fall, but I'm trying them in the spring, so we'll see how that goes. And then also for flowers, I start indoor starting nasturtium, alyssum, and calendula. And typically I'll just start those in the greenhouse and then keep them in the greenhouse. They don't need a whole lot of warmth, and with the heater on overnight, that is fine. I don't have to waste my grow light space inside for those, so I keep those in the greenhouse. Moving on to March. March is a very busy month of sowing seeds and transplanting. Indoors, I'm going to start sowing some of my summer crops like cosmos flowers because they like the warm weather. And I'll also start sowing squash and watermelon and cantaloupe indoors just a couple of weeks before my average last frost date. So usually this is toward the end of March. I'm starting those indoors. Now, squash and watermelon and cantaloupe, They don't have to be started indoors. They can actually be sowed directly in the garden, usually in mid-April after our frost has passed. But I have found that I really like getting a head start on those, and I start those indoors just a couple of weeks ahead of time because they grow really rapidly, and I want to get them in the garden just a couple of weeks after I sow the seeds, and that gives them a little bit more of a head start. Also, in the middle of March, I will be starting to develop my sweet potato slips. I do this from the sweet potatoes that I harvested last year, and I can develop those slips off of those sweet potatoes. I've got a video on that. I'll link that in the show notes. And then that way they'll be ready to go in the garden, usually in May. Also in March, I'm direct sowing more greens, more arugula. You get the cadence here. And March is the time when I'm usually planting my seed potatoes in the garden, depending on the soil temperature. I do have to keep an eye on the soil temperature because it does depend on how our spring is going. I try not to plant those until the soil temperature is at least 50 degrees because otherwise they'll just sit and a lot of times they'll rot. But March is typically the time I'm going to be doing that. I also want to continue transplanting lettuce that I started indoors, also transplanting beets or direct sowing beets. And then I transplant celery about a couple of weeks before my average last frost date. It can handle a frost, but it doesn't like the freezes as well as some of the other cool season crops. And then finally, flowers and herbs. I like to direct sow dill in March. And then I will start indoor sowing some of my warm weather herbs and flowers like basil, marigold, and zinnia. Again, I like to keep those in the greenhouse. I feel like they do just fine in the greenhouse, and then I can save my grow light space indoors for the tomatoes and peppers that are still growing inside during this month. Moving on to April, this is probably my second busiest planting month. That's because that's when our last frost is passing. And when that happens, I will plant tomatoes outdoors, peppers outdoors. All of those are transplants that I started from seed indoors. Also squash, watermelon, cantaloupe, and eggplant. I'm going to be transplanting all of those because I started those from seed indoors. April is also when I will start direct sowing my cucumber seeds and my green beans. I don't see a reason to seed start any of those indoors as long as the soil temperature is about 65 degrees or more. Those seeds should sprout just fine, and I directly sow them in the garden. I also will transplant nasturtium, alyssum, cosmos, calendula, marigold, basil, all of the flowers that I've started already. And then marjoram and basil should be ready to transplant after the last frost has passed. Heading on to May, we're about a month after our average last frost date. This is when I'm going to start planting some of the warmer weather crops like corn, okra, and I'm even going to try to plant edamame this year. I've never planted edamame, but I know it's a warm season crop, so I'm going to be planting that as well. And then May, if I can make it, this is definitely a goal. I've got a big month in May. I'm going out of town the beginning of the month, and my son's graduating high school, but the goal in May is to start another succession planting of marigolds and zinnias so that I can have them for later in the summer. And then I will also be transplanting sweet potatoes. May is a great time to transplant sweet potatoes, either mid-May or the end of May. And then it's also a great time to directly sow sunflowers. Moving on to June, there's not as much to plant in June, but I do direct sow cucumbers again. A lot of times the earlier planting of cucumbers start to get diseased or have issues, and so I like to just follow up with new plantings. That way I can just continue to have cucumbers all season long. So I'll direct sow cucumbers again in June in a different part of the garden. And then I want to continue sowing sunflowers so I can get more sunflowers for longer in the season. Before we move into July, that was a lot, I know. Hopefully you're seeing though a rhythm here and that you want to learn how to apply this to your own garden. If that's you, I want to invite you to a live free workshop coming up next week. It's called The Productive Gardener's Blueprint. I'm hosting it online with 4 classes to choose from between February 18th and 20th, and it is packed with detailed strategies that will help you become more efficient in your garden. Join me by going to journeywithjill.net/masterclass. You'll also find the link in the description to save your seat. There are limited seats, but hopefully you'll be able to grab your seat and I will see you there. Moving on to July, I'm direct sowing more cucumbers. Again, I'm continuing to sow cucumbers all year because I want to have cucumbers for my salads all year. And then if I want to do a succession planting of corn, I can do this in July. Typically when I'm growing corn and I plant it right around July 4th, I will be harvesting it in September, which is a great fall harvest. And then if I want to do a succession planting of green beans, often I'll do that in my green stalk planter, then I'll do that in July. July is a really good time to succession plant because a lot of those spring crops are coming out, and it's a good time to get some of those warm weather crops in to get more crop out of the same space. I'll also continue to sow marigold and zinnia, and July is the time to start fall gardening. I know it's hard to imagine doing this in July when we just barely got past the spring, but in July is when I indoor seed start broccoli, cabbage, celery, cauliflower, and the first part of my lettuce planting. Then moving on into August, I will direct sow, I'll let you guess, more cucumbers, but also a second planting of squash. I used to do 3 plantings of squash a year, but it ended up just being more than I needed. But I do like to do at least 2, one early in the year and one for a fall harvest. By the time they get here, the squash vine borer is gone, so I can have a good fall harvest, and I kind of crave squash again after having plenty of it in the spring. Mid-August is also when I start planting carrot seeds, and then I start again with succession planting greens and arugula. Honestly, in the summer, I usually don't stop with arugula because I just continue going for baby greens, but then I get specific with every other week again in August. The end of August is also when I transplant broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, and the first plantings of lettuce, and then I start indoor sowing lettuce again. Now, lettuce doesn't have to be sown indoors, but this is something that I choose to do because I like to have control over its growth in the beginning of the season, whether that's winter or whether that's summer, and then transplant it out whenever it's ready. Moving on to September, I'm still every other week direct sowing greens and arugula, but this is also the time to start transplanting celery and transplanting more lettuce. I'm also indoor sowing lettuce, and understand that each time I'm doing these successions of lettuce, I'm not sowing a whole lot at one time, usually 6 plants max, and then I'm continuing to do it every other week. And then September is usually the time that I start directly sowing spinach in the garden because it will grow and sprout, but then it'll start growing a whole lot in January and February. You can see behind me, I've got last year's spinach planting here. We did get down to 14 degrees this year and I didn't cover it, so some of it has been freeze burned. But for the most part, if I sow spinach, then I'll be able to harvest it the next February. Moving on to October, transplanting more lettuce, direct sowing greens and arugula. You get the idea. It's just continually sowing so I can get more and more salad greens every week. And my goal there is to have them mature so I can continue harvesting them throughout the winter when the daylight makes it where they don't grow so fast. And a lot of this is done in the greenhouse by this point, or at least in November, or right about the time that we get our first freeze, I'll move my green stalks into the greenhouse to keep them protected. Finally, at the end of October, the beginning of November is when I plant garlic. This is technically my first planting for the following year, or you can say it's the last planting of the year that I'm in, and I plant that getting ready for a harvest the next summer. November is when I like to plant short day onions. This is something that I experimented with last year and it worked really well. I ordered short day onions from Dixondale Farm and I planted them. I planted a lot of them in grow bags this year and I put them in the greenhouse and they are growing really well. Moving on to December, December is the only month I don't actively plant. It's a good time for a break and I'm still harvesting from my fall crops usually, just depending on the year. Well, there you have it. Hopefully in this calendar view, you've seen something missing. That one-time planting that so many people think that gardening is. And don't get me wrong, it can be, but there is so much more possibility available when we strategically plant at different times. And this ultimately yields more harvest. I'll be sharing more details and strategies with you about how to do this so that you can grow your own food in my free live workshop happening next week. I hope to see you at one of the 4 classes, whichever one works best for your schedule. Just go to journeywithjill.net/masterclass and save your seat. I can't wait to share with you how I made these strategies work for me so that you can grow more food in your garden. I hope to meet you there.